Rob Wright is leaving, and Baylor has its worst loss in the transfer portal era.
You are Locked On Baylor, your daily podcast on the Baylor Bears. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Bears fans. Welcome to an emergency Locked On Baylor. I'm your host, Cam Stuart of ESPN Central Texas. It's the #1 destination for Baylor sports news. Wish it didn't have to be an emergency one because Rob Wright is in the portal. We're going over that, how this came to be, how the fans are reacting, and how this coaching staff is reacting to what has to be the worst loss for Baylor in the portal era. And this news is stunning Baylor Nation this morning. It certainly did for me. I had heard from people around the program as recently as last week saying, no, this is okay. We've got it sorted. And then it kind of falls apart at the 11th hour. All the reports also saying, and all the rumors are saying that it did fall apart kind of this weekend. And now there are talks of 7-figure deals. And all that said, Rob Wright is not coming back, it looks like. Okay? He's not coming back. And that leaves one player that was actually on Baylor's roster last year that's coming back for next year. And he tore his ACL in February. So Baylor really has 0 returning players. One who practiced with them for a couple of months in Cameron Carr. That's it. And not only was it this one returner, but Rob Wright was supposed to be the guy. He was going to get the keys to the castle here. Going to be an All-American. Now he's out the door. And Ashley Hodge of Sikkim 365 was kind of on this yesterday, Sunday. And Ashley is the best, like the very best that we have covering Baylor basketball. And he's not taking too lightly to this either. He says, he tweets this out after the news came out. Sign a 7-figure NIL contract, allow the staff to invest lots of time in building the roster around you, and then abandon your future teammates and coaches this late in the process for a few extra bucks. That's low character stuff. Baylor will be fine, but this is an all-timer. The thing that I maybe disagree on is I don't know if Baylor's going to be fine. Not this year. There's obviously the chance that Scott Drew goes out, gets a banger of a portal class, and they're a tournament team again. Like that, I can absolutely buy into that. But we're supposed to be aiming for higher than that now. And this year they barely squeak in, and their best hope of really building off something and having some continuity and being a good team in the Big 12 next year is out the door. ESPN also reporting that the Baylor coaches were shocked by this. That would line up from what I was hearing with the program, a week ago, that this was not expected, that Rob Wright was the guy, that there were people talking to him, but that he was going to come back. And now that's all out the window. And the timing of this is piss poor, if we're being honest. They needed to know this 3 weeks ago. And instead they find out during the Final Four here. Now, they did go out and get 2 guys who played Rob's position last week. But again, we're talking about if Rob Wright is leaving, you're going to go out there and try to get the best point guard available and use your funds that you were going to pay Rob Wright towards that. Now, we're 2.5, 3 weeks into the portal here. Baylor cannot replace that quality even with the money that they're going to have. They can't just go out and get another Rob Wright. They can get good players and make a decent team. But this screws them in a lot of ways here. A lot of ways. And again, ESPN saying that the coach is stunned by this. They did not see this coming at all. And how can you blame them? I mean, there were some rumblings and some back channels that he might try the draft waters and maybe he would test the portal to see what kind of market he would get. But Baylor was going to give him a lot more money next year than they were this year. I mean, just had to. That's not a report. They just have to have, right? And B, that's what you do when the portal opens. You don't toy around and pretend like you're going to lead this team next year and then back out like that. This is all the worst parts of college sports coming to the forefront right now. Right now. And should Baylor fans be pissed off about this? Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, it's not just the fans. The coaches are pissed off about this. How about Jared Nunes putting this out on Instagram? I don't have it up ready on the screen because this is breaking news. He posts on his story, "You can't expect loyalty from people who would do anything for money." That says it all right there. That says it all. And now Baylor is starting from scratch. This is Bush League, man. It's Bush League. It's a terrible look. And you thought Baylor fans didn't like LJ Cryer. Oh, man. They are not going to like Rob Wright. They don't right now. I mean, this screws the whole thing over. You know, this has a lot of Jarrett Stidham to it, actually. And Baylor fans hated Jarrett Stidham. Like, hated him. So this reeks of the very same kind of deal here. This is not good at all. And even Fran was surprised by this. Fran Fraschillo was surprised. Nobody, even in this portal era with NIL and everybody leaves, like no one was expecting Rob Wright to leave. And now another thing, again, just kind of mind running wild here. This is not a report. This is not from anybody on the inside. This is just my hunch on things, much like it was that Rob Wright might be out the door, by the way. Not to say I told you so, because I didn't want to be right on that, but someone did say he might test this thing out, and here we are. Anyway, the other theory that I've kind of come up with is, where does Kentucky play into this? Because, the rumors flying around is he's going to get, double what he was going to get at Baylor. There's not many. I know Baylor isn't the biggest NIL school, but there's not many schools that can pull that off. Kentucky is one of them. Who was the main recruiter for Rob Wright when he was at Baylor? Alvin Brooks III. Where does Alvin Brooks III coach now? The University of Kentucky. And they could use a point guard going into next year. They're just trying to get one over on us because Scott Drew told them no. But that has to be the program. I mean, UConn potentially. And there's some other teams that can throw this kind of money around. He's a Philadelphia kid. Villanova's got a new coach, although they have a guard that's following him from Maryland, that's following Willard. So I don't know about that, but maybe. But Kentucky is the one that sticks out to me. Jake has helped recruit him too, but I don't think the kid's going to FAU. Okay, no disrespect to Jacobs or FAU, but Kentucky's a different animal, and really, AB Alvin Brooks III was the recruiter up there on the East Coast with Rob Wright. Are you ready to think it's a bad situation now? I know there's so many optimistic Baylor fans that have been in the comments the last couple of weeks saying that I've been dramatic or that this situation isn't that bad and that we trust in Scott Drew. I trust in Scott Drew too. And I'm not trying to rain on anybody's parade, but nobody's coming back. Nobody. Josh O is probably not going to be able to play most of next year at best. Nobody is coming back. This is dire. This is laughingstock kind of stuff. This is, you might be able to put together some good players, but you might not be able to make the tournament kind of stuff. Ask West Virginia. It's the second year in a row they have nobody on the roster in April. Arkansas is a great example. They had nobody on the roster when Calipari came in last year. They got the best transfer portal team that money could buy. And they made the Sweet 16 because they have a Hall of Fame coach. But that was a struggle all year long. As a 10 seed, a bounce of the ball going the other way in one or two games, and they're missing the tournament entirely. And that was the best case scenario out of the portal. They bought plug and play starters out of the portal. Best team money could buy. Baylor doesn't have that kind of money. And who knows, with this ruling that's probably going to come down today, how much money they're even going to have allocated towards basketball. This is a huge deal. This is the worst loss of the portal era for Baylor. And to make it even better, you can probably watch LJ Cryer win the national championship tonight. Grand, great, grand, wonderful. This sucks. This sucks any way you slice it. Even the most optimistic Baylor fan cannot say this doesn't suck. I trust in Scott Drew too. I like the two guys he's brought in. But maybe this was the writing on the wall. You brought in 2 point guards. One of them can play off the ball. One has not been able to show that in J.J. White. Oh, Cam, you're crazy. You're trying to push this narrative. No way Rob Wright's leaving. You're just trying to be pessimistic about it. He's gone. There he is. Wave to it. Bye, Charlie. And maybe it's going to be a tougher sell than it has been in 5 or 6 years to sell Baylor. Like, hey, this is what we're building. Because there's no, you've barely put a shovel in the ground of what you're building. There's 3 players on the roster who are healthy. And none of them have reported to campus. You know, none of them are there. None of them are Baylor students. This is an absolute feces show right now. Like, no way that you slice it is this good. And I don't think Baylor can put together a bag to get Rob Wright back in the door. And the main reason being they don't have the bags that Kentucky or UConn or North Carolina can throw out. And the other option being he wasn't leaving on April 7th unless he knew what that bag was. So this is not Rob Wright testing the waters a little bit. Go get me an agent. He's got a deal in place. He'll commit later today or tomorrow. And we'll know full well who Rob Wright is leaving us for, and we'll have a good idea as to why. Jared Nunes has a good idea as to why. But he is going to become one of the most hated players in Baylor basketball history. No doubt. I don't care. 19 years old, had a good season for them, seemed to love Baylor when he's here. Don't care. You want to be a pro? This is what happens in pro sports. Okay? Go ask Kyrie Irving in the finals. This is what happens in pro sports. You want to be a pro? This is how it is, kid. You're going to be pretty well hated by this college basketball program and their fans. And maybe, getting $2 million, $2.5 million, maybe that's worth it. Maybe it is. I don't know. I'd take $2.5 million. Anyway, that's the breaking news of the day. Rob Wright is gone, and so is everybody else from the Baylor basketball roster from 2024-25. Boy, it's going to be fun. At least we have Sawyer Robertson. At least we have that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Where were you when you heard the news? How are you feeling about Rob Wright right about now? And how do you feel about Baylor basketball moving forward? Let me know in the comments section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you're on YouTube, you can check out the other videos we've got on the channel going on right now. It's the #1 destination for Baylor sports news. We appreciate you making it your first listen today and every day. We're probably going to talk some more revenue sharing tomorrow, but also, of course, the aftermath and the fallout of the worst loss in the transfer portal era for Baylor basketball on your favorite show, Locked On Baylor.